It is now just a couple of days until the new Championship season starts, and of course one of the new faces in the division are Wrexham, but they are so divisive, aren't they? When it comes to a lot of people giving their opinions on Wrexham, it's either they love them or they hate them. There are some people in the middle, but they're definitely like Marmite. Why are they so divisive? Let's see if we can work all of that out today and see if we can work out where they're going to finish in the EFL Championship this season. Guys, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe as well, it really helps. And comment. Let's see if we can get as many people as possible commenting on this video with their genuine thoughts on Wrexham. And by the way, let's get one thing straight. If someone doesn't like something, that's fair enough. People are entitled to their own opinions, but I want to try and get to the reasons of why that might be. Like I say then, Wrexham come up to the Championship. Of course, they've had an incredible journey coming up from the National League to League 2 to League 1 to here. And I remember quite clearly when Ryan and Rob first went into Wrexham in 2021, and I mean, obviously there was no backlash. I mean, no one said anything bad at the time. Some people might have thought, what do Ryan and Rob know about football? But at the time, I don't remember any problems. It's just as they've started to work their way up the football pyramid and throw a bit more money at this project that some people have started to go, hang on a minute, I don't like them. And it might be because you don't enjoy the documentary. That is up to you, of course. As I say, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But is it because they are a threat? Is that what it is? Because, like I say, to a lot of us Championship fans, as a Coventry fan, we've not really had to concern about Wrexham, apart from the fact they did beat us in the FA Cup a couple of years ago. That was annoying. But now they are in the Championship, yeah, I guess I'm looking at them more now as an enemy, you know, a team that's in your league, you know, a rival. Anyone that isn't you is against you, if that makes sense. So I get that side of things. Like I say, it could be that, but we have also seen Charlton and Birmingham getting promoted to the Championship, and they're not getting lots of heat from everyone else. But maybe that's because more people perceive Birmingham as, well, they should be in the Championship, and people are looking at Wrexham and thinking, well, if it wasn't for the money, they wouldn't be here. Also, going back to the documentary, remember a couple of years ago, they did this map of English football and where all these teams are, and it was horribly inaccurate. But I would like to think that most of you genuinely saw that and thought nothing of it and thought, yeah, okay, it's terribly inaccurate and maybe meant to be inaccurate. But genuinely, I think some people looked at that and thought, hang on a minute, Brentford's not in the North East, these guys don't know anything about football. And to that extent, it actually worked in getting the documentary more exposure, because that went viral on all social media platforms. But as I say, I didn't get annoyed by that. I thought it was actually quite funny. I mean, look at that, Coventry City are the biggest badge in the Midlands. I love this map. But I genuinely think some people take this stuff really seriously. And what I do get is the fact that English football, it's like a genuinely massive part of English culture, isn't it? Like, for a lot of us, the football on the Saturday is like the thing we look forward to. It's always in the back of our mind. And to a lot of other countries, that might seem like an alien concept, if you get what I mean. But it doesn't necessarily mean that people can't understand it. Anyway, like I say, is it that? When it comes to their transfer approach this summer, and we're going to move on to Wrexham coming into this season, I feel like they've left it quite late to do a lot of their business. In fact, I did my Championship predictions a week ago, and if I had waited a week longer, which I couldn't do, by the way, because Sophie's gone away on holiday, I would maybe reconsider having Wrexham a little bit higher now. Like I say, at the time of recording the predictions, they had brought in Ryan Hardy, George Thomason, a couple of decent players, and they have got a good core and spine to this team, and as I say, a real togetherness. But in the last couple of days, they've really stepped things up. Connor Cody coming through is an impressive one. I know he isn't in his prime anymore, but we've said before that for teams getting promoted, experience is such a massive thing to bring through the door. And also, Kiefer Moore is currently having his medical today. I do like the fact they are going for Welsh players, plays into the identity of Wrexham, of course, as well. And yeah, Kiefer Moore, once again, not at his best. In fact, I did get a little bit of stick, I guess, from Sheffield United fans when I said the other day that he's still there, he's a decent player, and they were like, no, he's not. I still think he's all right. Maybe, yeah, he's not as good as he used to be, and yes, he did make the mistake in the playoff final, but this is a good signing for Wrexham if they can get Keith Moore through. Lewis O'Brien is also a decent pickup. Experience, of course, with Huddersfield. He's played in the Premier League, of course, with Nottingham Forest. Also, Josh Windass, clever of Wrexham to capitalise on the misery at Sheffield Wednesday at the moment, which of course is still ongoing, and my thoughts are with them. But they are bringing in experience, and it feels like some people have a problem with that, and they seem to think Wrexham chucking too much money at older players. But I do think the most important thing this season is for Wrexham to have enough experience to at least stay up. But I think they could do more than that. I think they could push for mid-table. So that is where I am right now with Wrexham. I think mid-table. I suppose yes, because Wrexham always prove people wrong. They could get into the top 6, and I really don't want to be that guy on the documentary saying they're not going to be good and then they are. But as for other people's predictions, where I've seen quite a few people having Wrexham to be relegated, by the way, we must draw a line, and there is a difference between Wrexham hate and just predicting Wrexham to be relegated. They're not necessarily the same thing. Some people might like Wrexham but think they might still go down. But I will say though that some of it, some of it's just looking for a reaction. If people are going to say, I want Wrexham to get relegated, then that is looking for a reaction, because they are going to get you clicks. I also think Wrexham can't win with some people. Some people have got like a certain agenda or mind frame where you can't win if you're Wrexham. Because going back to last season, I remember very clearly a lot of people saying Wrexham won't go up. And then as soon as they did, similar people were then saying, well, they spent a lot of money, of course they were going to go up. So what were they meant to do? Like I say though, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, because this isn't necessarily me defending Wrexham. I'm just wanting to have that open conversation. I do think personally, just going back to my own opinion, they will stay up. I think they've got an identity, they've got a game plan, a style of play. They're going to be very direct, very physical, but I think experience, as I say, is crucial. Maybe they're not going to be the most flary team, especially in a league where money comes down from the Premier League and it's a hard league. You look at their first few games, by the way, Southampton, West Brom, difficult games. I do think they'll get going eventually. Sheffield Wednesday is definitely one they're going to want to win in August. And the key word, once again, is momentum. Can Wrexham keep moving? It's like a snowball getting bigger and bigger and just building. And will they get to the Premier League eventually? I feel like it's difficult right now, because if they don't go up this season, do they lose momentum? I don't think so. I think if you're realistic, it's a couple years in the making to try and get to the Premier League for Wrexham. Finally, I just wanted to touch on Phil Parkinson as well. Quite a few people I've seen saying he won't last half the season. If they are really bad, say if they are in the bottom 3 at Christmas, then maybe, yeah, I could see a change. But I do think as long as they're above the bottom 3 and playing fairly well and grinding out a few results, I think there will be loyalty there. I think they're really going to want that narrative of Phil Parkinson taking them all the way from the National League to the Premier League one day. And like I say, I don't think they're going up next season in my opinion, but maybe in a few years, if they keep building, they might. Let's leave it there. Share your thoughts. It's an open discussion. You might not like Wrexham, and that is absolutely fine, but we're trying to tap into that. Is that something Wrexham are just going to have to live with? How do you think they're going to do this season? Give us all your thoughts. For myself, I like to think of this channel more as a commentary channel than a reactionary channel, even though we do have reactions, especially when it comes to Coventry City. But like I say, share your thoughts. Drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Peace out.